For decades, dreadlocks in Nigeria have carried a weight heavier than just strands of twisted hair. Often referred to as locks, it's seen by many as unkempt, rebellious, or even threatening.
Anybody that you find with a barber or dreadlock, arrest him, barb his hair, and find him.
They've been misjudged, criminalized, and tagged with spiritual, rebellious, or social deviance. Why? Is it our cultural biases and lack of understanding of the hairstyle? Could there be a gradual wave of change led by bold individuals unafraid to conform?
For me, dreadlock complements my personality, the kind of person I am, the kind of life I live.
Yes, I started growing out my locks and I quite suffered, not too much as compared to some other people who had to go to jail. Some of them were even shot and killed like animals on the street, all because they wore dreadlocks.
It started first as a means of liberating myself from the stress of going to the barbers.
There was this stereotype from friends and family saying, oh, you can't be a finance professional and carry dreads. So I actually did cut it, and then 2 years ago, I decided that, well, I wasn't going to listen to anybody anymore. Just grow the dreads, and I started it all over again.
Following the backlash from his controversial directive to arrest, forcibly shave, and fine any man with dreads, Niger State Governor Umaru Bago retracted his statement after he was met with outrage among civil society groups and young Nigerians.
On hooliganism, and people misconstrued our words for people who have dreadlocks. We don't have problem with dreadlocks, but we have problem with the cult here with dreadlocks.
Many of whom have chosen dreadlocks not as a trend, but as a cultural and artistic statement.
I think the decision to stop combing my hair, stop cutting it, came as a result of I got too busy, and I just didn't like the idea of going to visit the barbers once every week, just to maintain that low cut. I thought it was a waste of time and better things to do with my time. And I just stopped going to the barbers, and I didn't bother combing the hair. And I said, you know what? I'm an artist. I have creative license. I think this is not a bad idea. So it was a bit of rebelling against the norms. And I looked at it for a long time. I kept nipping it on top. I didn't want it to grow too long. Until after a while, I just got tired and I just left it, and it grew, and that just became it. So it started first as a means of liberating myself from the stress of going to the barbers. But eventually it morphed into something else. I started liking that look. It started becoming more me,
As one of Nigeria's most celebrated creative photographers, Kelechi Amadi-Obi wears his dreadlocks like a badge of creative freedom. It's about simplicity, no barbershop visits, no fuss, challenging the idea that professionalism must come with a clean cut.
Now we're at Loctitude Studio, an exclusive dreadlock salon. Let's find out if the perception of Nigerians has changed about dreads, and if maybe it's a new cool. Let's get into it.
I've been locking hair for about 9 years and more, but I've been doing hair generally for more than 15 years. I've done several and different types of hair, and I realized that locks is more natural, and I like it because it's natural, it's African, and I love it. Just do it. Don't think twice, just do it. Just do it, just do it. You are going to like it and you are not going to regret it. We have had series of clients who say, oh, now that I've started locking my hair, oh, look at my hair, 1 year, it's so long, it's so natural, I don't even have to stress myself. Why haven't I done it since? So they kind of like regret that, oh, don't contemplate, just do it.
The old Nigerian proverb, the way you dress is how you be addressed, still echoes in many circles. But Gen Z's creatives and thought leaders are reshaping that perspective.
When I started my hair sometime in October 2022. So that's going to just about 3 years. What do people think about my hair? I think my friends were surprised that Tayo, no one expected Tayo to go on dreadlocks. So I did go on dreadlocks and I did like it. I had mixed reactions. You know, my family, it's like, oh, no one is expecting you to go on dreadlocks. Why are you going on dreadlocks? What's going on? Are you changing? What's going on? And stuff like that. But I think the environment I found myself kind of just helped because no one really cared if you're on dreadlocks, if you're on twists, whatever you're on, no one really cares.
I'll say it's just been a couple of minutes now, and I'll say the reception is not bad. I mean, everybody actually likes what it looks like right now. Even though I was skeptical in the first place, I was more or less feeling like I don't want a new look. But to be honest, the past few minutes have been very, very great for me. So I like what I look like right now. Now that I've done this, now I think it's more defined, and I think I look better. You must say the same thing.
I can't count how many times I've gotten it done here. And I think truly it's an expression, you know, it makes me feel great. And I had to cut it for my wedding. And this is, of course, Nigeria's perspective about this. I wanted to respect my parents, my in-laws. But once I was done with that wedding, I couldn't wait to put it back on. So I don't know. We're going to hit the streets and see what people think. If truly the perception about dreads is changing in Nigeria.
What's up, people? It's Labaika here, and I'm out on the street of Lagos to find out the public perception and stereotype people hold towards people on dread. Let's hear what they have to say.
Nowadays, you see some men, guys, they do dreadlocks. In olden days, dreadlocks is, when you do dreadlocks, they believe you belong to a society or you belong to one idol or the others. But nowadays, they think it's a fashion. So, but it's contrary to the culture, especially Yoruba culture.
Looking at dreads and looking at the way Nigeria is, the first thing that comes to your mind is they look irresponsible. But looking at them way beyond dreads, you know, some of them are quite cool. They are very cool. I have a few friends that wear dreads and they are very decent.
You can look the way you want to look, okay, the way pleasing to you. In as much, it's not crime associated. I think dreadlock for me is acceptable, and I don't think anybody wearing such is a lunatic or such person is mad.
I think we're still a developing country. We still have like a societal construct that comes into having dreadlocks on, and I feel like we're getting past it slowly. We're talking about it now. Even as we're doing this documentary, we're talking about it, we're creating more awareness, and people are becoming more aware. A lot of people are now rocking dreadlocks. A lot of parents are now comfortable allowing their children rock dreadlocks in Nigeria, but we have a long way to go. We're not there yet.
The resurgence of dreadlocks in global pop culture began with artists like Bob Marley, who popularized the style in the 1970s, symbolizing resistance and pride in African heritage. An icon whose message was beyond the hairstyle, but about the love, peace, and unity through his music.
The person that really popularized dreadlocks was Bob Marley. And I grew up in listening to him, listening to his message through his music. And they had a whole philosophy around the Rastafari movement, you know. And these are our kith and kin, you know, that were parceled out of Africa, you know, to the Caribbeans, you know, as slaves. And wearing dreadlocks became their way of rebelling against the ways of the white man. It's also their way of associating with their Africanness.
But when I started embracing Rasta and growing my hair, my father was a little disappointed because he came from that era where anybody wearing dreadlocks was either a drug addict or a riff-raff, something like that. So he feared that I might put aside all the good upbringing and hold on to something else. But with time, I proved to him that no, it was not going to happen. He felt I was going to drop out of school. But no, I kept on with the school and I excelled from my first degree all through my second degree and beyond. He realized that this was a boy who was ready to grab whatever it was in the world of knowledge. And he was proud of this till the end of time. Now it looks like things are changing. I mean, the so-called decent people in the society, a lot of them are wearing dreadlocks now. We have doctors, medical doctors who wear dreadlocks in Ghana, in Uganda, in Kenya. We have nurses who wear that as well. Footballers are wearing that. In those days, it was strictly Rasta who wore dreadlocks and a few fetish priests and priestesses. But now it's almost like a fashion. And people are beginning to accept Rasta more than they used to. So yes, things are beginning to change.
Today, musicians across genres continue to wear locks, from multi-Grammy winning artist Jay-Z to African giant Burna Boy, signifying a shift and reflecting a broader acceptance and celebration of diverse cultural expressions.
Abroad, they have a lot of things going on for them. Apart from dreadlock, they have a whole lot going on for them. And dreadlock is one of those things that they don't consider like anything, because if they define it for Nigeria now, they see you with dreadlock. First, arrest you with dreadlock first. Before you go explain, say they're innocent. Meanwhile, in foreign countries, they'll have to investigate. And dreadlock is not a criteria, except there was an eyewitness that says the criminal had a dreadlock. But in Nigeria, nobody needs to say anything. Dreadlock, you go enter surface, then you go explain later. Let me tell you one experience. I was in 100 level. I just gained admission to uni. Me and my friends were strolling to the junction to get food. It was that time that this SARS thing was, it was not really big in Nigeria, but in Port Harcourt it was crazy because it was FSARS, that's federal SARS. They stopped us. They dragged the earring out of my guy's ear because he had dreadlocks, dragged and cut it off, like injured him in his ear. Then another guy that had tattoos, they tied him up, shaved his beard, put him on the street. Like, it was crazy. Like SARS were like, they were like your parents that were not your parents. Like, when you have a wicked stepmother or a stepfather, that's what they were. That was what they were like when I was in uni. They were really brutal, aggressive. If you had dreadlock on, you are going to be stopped. Like, you don't need to commit a crime. They will just start slapping you. Like, why do you have dreadlocks? Why do you have tattoos? Why do you look like this? Why do you look like that? Even without committing any real crime. And the craziest part, people that commit real crimes are always moving around, like nothing can happen to them. Around the school where we used to live. So it's crazy. Those are the things that I faced. A lot of things. A lot that I can't even start saying today.
Many dreadlock wearers in Nigeria had stories of being stopped by police, questioned, or profiled simply because of their appearance. Some attributing the look and hairstyle to rascality, and many have wondered why.
Alright, so Nigeria has finally happened to me. I've got stopped. I got stopped. My stuff is being searched. They say they're gonna take me to the station. The car is being searched simply because I have dreadlocks. So there's a cop in the front car. Everyone, like, basically, they saw me with dreads. So Nigeria, I'm not paying. I mean, you know me, I'm radical. So I had to tell them a piece of my mind. So now they're trying to play a game. I'll play their game. It's about power. And when this is over, yeah.
One would ask, who creates the stigma? Is it the voice of majority on the streets? Should a hairstyle, a form of expression, cause such scrutiny? And would it gradually shift to a point where it becomes a norm? Perhaps what dreadlocks need is a redefinition, more than a sensitization, but rather a new name, to begin a new meaning of its own.
See, the word dread is an English word, and dread is a negative word. Something is dreadful. Something is dreadful. It means it is despicable. It is not desirable. And when you put dread and put it next to locks, so you understand the etymology of that word. The oldest, well, for a little investigation I made, turns out that the British people started calling it dreadlocks because it was associated with the Mau Mau. Mau Mau was a certain group of tribe in Kenya that fought the British to a standstill, fought them for a year. And they did not like the Mau Mau. And they described their hairstyle as dreadlocks. Some people say, oh, it's a derogatory way of referring to black people. That's a dreadful hair, And so from the British, the vilification of that hairstyle had already started. It was a colonial, way of putting down the black man.
Among the Yoruba, children born with natural locks, known as dada, are considered spiritually special, yet adults sporting dreadlocks are sometimes viewed with suspicion. It's a reflection of our cultural and religious differences, as some religious beliefs frown upon the hairstyle, particularly for men.
The society in Nigeria is quite very primitive in the sense that we kind of think backwards. We don't think that things could be different. We believe that dreadlock is a sign of identity to something. But I just see it as a form of expression, a way of like expressing yourself as, in art generally. And you can actually choose to change anytime. You can choose to do like a different look now, do another thing. We should be free to do our things, not conform to identity, to a lot of norms and societal whatever, and boxed up in a way. So I just think it's a form of expression.
For Pastor Jimmy Odukoya, son of late renowned pastors Taiwo and Bimbo Odukoya, dreadlocks are more than a fashion statement. They're an identity. I've had my locks for over 15 years, he says. It was a personal choice, an expression of my individuality and my roots. My parents, despite their conservative pastors, never judged me for it. They saw past the hair and into my heart. But outside his home and church, the reaction wasn't always as warm. Even at pastors, people judge me. They look at my hair and assume rebellion or spiritual confusion. It's a bias deeply rooted in cultural and religious misinterpretation, he explains. Whether it's a hairstyle adorned by superstars or forbidden in certain religions, it's undeniable that the average young person in any work of life, from creative to art and even finance, can express themselves with locks, and it shouldn't matter the workplace.
So being a chartered accountant, there's this mentality that, is either you have, well-groomed hair or low-cut hair, and then being in the banking sector for a decade and a half, having to wear suit and tie. Even then, when I started banking, you couldn't grow beards as a banker. Today, it's ironic that you see so many successful bankers with beards, and I think I decided that, to change that stereotype.
Locks have undergone a significant transformation from being perceived majorly as a symbol of rebellion and non-conformity to becoming a mainstream fashion statement embraced by global music icons and creatives. It represents more than just a hairstyle. Would it become a norm in the nearest future? Only time will tell. As society continues to evolve, it is essential to appreciate and respect diverse expressions of beauty.